Citizen, why did you spend over $1,000 upgrading this Radrover bike? Why'd you do that? Like, why didn't you just take that money and go buy a bike with better components right out the box? Why did you spend the money upgrading instead of just buying something new? Well, today I'm going to tell you 5 reasons why I chose to upgrade this rather than just get something new out of the box. All right, before I go trucking down the greenway here, let's stop and take a peek at this bike. Well, there she sits. This is my 2018 Radrover bike that I've heavily modified. I've made a lot of changes to this bike. If you want to get any of the accessories or mods, parts that I've done to it, they're all on my website right there, ridewithcitizen.com. And that has a running list of everything I've done to the bike, complete with the links. So if you want to go grab any of this stuff, you can check that out. But I've changed a lot on this bike in the last probably 6 months or so. I'm going to focus today on the powertrain mods I've done. So I changed the screen and the controller, the battery, and also the rear hub motor, and made this a much more, let's call it, exciting user experience, because it changes this bike completely. So today I want to kind of go over why I chose to change all this and put all the time and effort and money and energy into doing all these upgrades. If you haven't seen all my changes upgrade videos, check through the library. They're all there. I've done a lot of videos on this bike in those installs, so watch to do that if you're curious. There's a lot of good info in there. Let me jump on this and go for a quick ride down the greenway here and talk about why you might want to do what I did. I mean, if there's one thing I can talk about with some knowledge, is Radrover upgrades. I've done a lot, so let me tell you why. All right, so first reason that you might want to upgrade this bike is that you were like me. I've had this bike for 2 years. I've gotten to the point where, I was kind of bored with the power and I wanted more out of it, more performance. So if you're craving more performance, more speed, more acceleration, more hill climbability, a longer range, then you might want to do upgrades. Just changing the powertrain on this bike, I spent over $1,000. So you're gonna have to part with a fair amount of cash if you want the performance like I got. This is a crazy powerful bike now, 1700 watts. I can go 34 miles an hour on flat ground, and it's a beast. It's just a beast. It's a totally different bike. So I'm gonna keep going through the list here of reasons why you might want to upgrade, and after that I get through the list, I'll tell you, which pieces you might want to take a look at depending on what you're looking for out of the bike. And then at the end, I'll give you a little bit of a bonus upgrade, which might surprise you, so stick around for that. But reason number 2 for upgrading your bike is if you have the ambition for a project. If you want to learn more about e-bikes, how they work, and you've got some basic tools and some basic knowledge and problem solving skills. A lot of the stuff I do is plug and play, but there are some, you're always going to encounter those little issues you're going to have to figure out. So if you want a project, something to do, you like to tinker and you want to do it yourself, and you're not afraid to do things yourself. That's the thing. Like, I was a little bit scared opening up the rear motor and pulling that out and all the gears and everything. I didn't want to mess it up because, if you do mess it up, I don't know that you can exactly run this down to your local bike shop and have them fix it all up nice and pretty. So number 3 thing I'll say, yes to upgrades, would be if you don't care about regulations. You got to understand that. And I'm sorry to my friends overseas who can only get like 250 watt e-bikes. We don't have those strict rules like that in the good old USA. So this is like 1700 watts now and no one even cares. But yeah, so if you don't care about following class 1, class 2, class 3 e-bike rules, then you can upgrade. But if you're scared about that and worried about it, then you're not going to want to do what I did, because this is no longer a class 2 e-bike by any stretch of the imagination. So I think we're up to like number 4. So number 4 reason to say yes to doing upgrades would be, if you already have this bike, why put this bike on the shelf and then go drop $2,500 on another brand new one to get, the power you're looking for and all the components you're looking for, when you can just take, maybe $1,000 and upgrade this. So if you already own this bike, then you might want to just upgrade it. Why waste it? Just take the platform and build upon it like I did. I'm extremely happy with what I did to this bike. This thing's awesome. I love it. I'm about maybe $2,500 into this bike right now. You know, if I would have just put it on the shelf and bought another $2,500 bike with all the same components, well then I'm in it, you know, $3,500 or $4,000 that I've got money invested in e-bikes. It's a cool looking bike, man, and I've already added a ton of accessories to it and done a lot of things. So, you know, if you really like your bike, you don't want to just start brand new with something brand new, then that might be a reason to just do some upgrades to it. Now, I would never tell anyone to go buy a Radrover and then go buy $1,000 worth of upgrades and build it out. Like, if you don't have the bike already, then don't buy it with the intention of upgrading it. A lot of people say that in the comments to me, that, hey, my bike's on the way, I've already bought the controller, the motor, the battery, all this stuff. They're getting a whole brand new bike shipped to them, and then they have they're gonna just change everything on it. I mean, more power to it if you wanna do it, if you're looking for the fun project, but so I don't suggest you buy it and then upgrade it right away. But if you already own it, then yes. All right, I think we're up to number 5 now, which I've already kind of alluded to, and that is it's gonna be cheaper to upgrade this than it is to buy something brand new. To get something with equivalent components with the battery size, mine's 52 volt, a true 750 watt rear motor, 35 amp controller, you know, to get something of that caliber, you're probably gonna spend $2,500 after you buy the bike and shipping and tax and all that. So it's gonna be cheaper to just, if you already own this, put $1,000 into it and upgrade it. So it could be a cheaper option for you. All right, now I promised I would tell you what components to look at based on what you're looking for out of the bike. So number 1, if you're gonna upgrade this bike, the very first thing you should do would be the controller. This little box right here. Switch it to a 35 amp controller like I've got. There's a bunch of sites out there that have them, and that gives you much better acceleration. It like doubles the acceleration. Doesn't give you any more top end speed, but it'll change the bike completely. It's $200, it's plug and play. Absolute must if you want to start doing upgrades, right? The battery is what's going to give you the range if you want more range. So Rad's is a 14 amp hour battery. The one I just put on is 17.5, so in theory should be able to go further. And if you want the more power and top end speed, I actually got that from the motor. I thought it would be the battery, because that's what everyone told me. Higher voltage battery will get you the top end speed. Well, I mean, not for me. That barely increased my top speed at all. It was the motor that I swapped in there, the bigger motor, that really boosted my miles per hour. Like I said, this thing will do 34 if you get into a full tuck in a long ass straight stretch. And it's got some pretty crazy fast acceleration. I can keep up in 25 mile an hour traffic, no problem. Let's see if there's anybody here. If it's wide open, I'll hit it real quick. All right, no people, ready? So, real easy to run up to 27 miles an hour. It pulls, you can feel the motor pull all the way up over 30. But you gotta be careful with it too, because if you start standing up and pumping the pedals and hit the throttle, you'll pull the front end right up in the air. I don't know how many times I've almost slipped over backwards trying to do wheelies. Whoa. Which, it's a lot of fun though. I can go out to a field and just, if you push down on the handlebars, preload the suspension, and as it pops up, hit the throttle, you can just power wheelie. It's a lot of fun. All right, so people have asked me before, if you could only do one upgrade, what would you do? Controller, without hesitation, do controller. That's gonna be the easiest and give you the most bang for your buck for sure. And I told you I'd give you a little bonus nugget of upgrade information. I've done other upgrades too, like the brakes. I did hydraulic calipers, which are better. They're not mind-blowing, but they're better. But there is one upgrade I've done that's not powertrain related that has just been amazing. Absolutely amazing. I still can't get over how much it changes the bike. And I'll let you in on that secret right now. So if you don't want any more power, but you want a very, very nice upgrade to this bike, right here. Wow. Changing out the tires on this bike just increases the ride quality tenfold. I put on these tires called Fast Track by Specialized, 26x4, and they're 120 TPI rating, so they're very soft. This bike, if you own a Rad, or any bike really that has those Kenda Juggernaut tires on it, you just roar down the street. They're so loud, and these tires are whisper quiet. But the other thing I did was inside of the tires, I put in the Tannis America liners. It's called Tannis Armor. Check that out. It's like a 1/2 inch of foam that goes in the tire, meant for puncture protection, right? But it also, I think it's a combination of the soft rubber tires and that soft foam inside there that just gives this ride quality a giant boost. It's a delight to ride this bike. I mean, I did a video called Floats Over Bumps. It does, man. You hit little bumps and ripples in the greenway and roots and curbs, and it just bounces right over them nice and easy. I mean, you barely feel them. I can't get over how much it changed the ride quality. That is, next to the power, excluding all the power mods, that is absolutely my #1 modification to this bike. And I don't work for Tannis America, but man, I love their products. So they're getting some free promotion out of me here. But these things have been great. It totally changed the ride of this bike. I did a whole video of installing the foam liners and the new tires. Check that out. Some of you probably already knew I was going to do this video because you follow me on Instagram, Citizen_Cycle, because I do little teaser videos on there. So if you want to know what I'm coming out with next, follow me on Instagram and you'll know ahead of time what I'm about to do a video on. But I think that's about all for today. Subscribe if you want to see more. I got some interesting content coming up here in the next probably a month or two. I'm just waiting on some things in the mail. So, haha, teaser. If you do decide to upgrade your Radrover, good luck. You can always hit me up with some comment questions if you want. I'll try to answer. I'm not an e-bike mechanic or technician at all, so I'll try to give you some answers if I can. But I noticed there's a lot of people that chime in my comment section with have more knowledge than I do that kind of educate me a lot of times, so I'm sure they could probably respond as well. But anyway, that is all. I hope you found this to be somewhat informative or maybe entertaining. Give me a thumbs up or subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Thank you so much for watching.